Welcome to Dragon Con. One more round of applause. Your first Dragon Con.
Thank you. What's happening, Dragon Con? Man, it's been crazy here.
I would say, like you've been seeing some crazy stuff, right?
Just 4 days, it's been amazing here, here in Atlanta, and to be able to be my first Dragon Con.
Yeah.
I love all the cosplays, all the fans has been wonderful, showing big keys, nothing but love, and it was just I'm ready to come back next year.
One thing I always like to ask any guest I sit down with, we're a convention of multiple fandoms, not just wrestling, it's not just pop culture, it's across the board. My friend, if you were here, off the clock, hanging out, where are your fandoms at? Where are your joys? I want to know what makes you a geeky Rikishi.
I'm just hanging out with friends.
Yeah?
Pretty much compete who's got the best cosplay outfit. I'm still kind of new to this world of cosplay.
Yeah.
Go figure. This.
Well, you've been doing wrestling. Yeah, there's a parallel.
Yeah, but it's not like cosplay. Like, here at Dragon Con, this is like some real stuff.
Right.
The last time I've been to something like this was in San Diego. And I thought San Diego was huge, but this one here, ATL, you guys showed up and showed out. I think if I were ever to come to a cosplay, number one, I wouldn't let anybody know.
Yeah, of course.
I would try to be up,
Sliding that radar there.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Batman. I like Batman, kind of cover the face. I don't know about the buttocks part because that's going to give it away. Oh, well, shake what your mama gave you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned Batman, did you grow up, loving comics or any particular, TV show, movie, anything like that?
Well, I used to watch the Super Friends.
Oh, God, yeah.
How many of y'all remember the Super Friends? That's the 50 and older.
I heard some people take some ibuprofen when you asked that question.
Right?
Yeah, we remember it. Okay.
Yeah, I was, the Super Friends back in the day.
Yeah.
Eat your spinach and stuff like that. Yeah, but now it's like a whole new, different vibe for me. I'm really starting to learn the cosplay type of vibe and all these different Comic Cons. Now that I'm not performing that much with professional wrestling in the ring, I do a lot of these signings now throughout the world. And I'm happy to say I just finished my first series of my first comic book ever.
Oh, right.
And it's called Rikishi and I and the Dreams. And so it has to tell a story about, myself and my family. I'm proud to say that we are the biggest family in professional wrestling. We've been in the business 75 plus years.
Yeah,
And, a lot of my time now is with my grandkids.
Yeah.
I have 14 grandkids now. And, so I do that. Pretty much.
That's a lot of time.
Wrestle with them.
Yeah.
Wrestle with them to call their parents to come back and pick them up. Right? And so, we do a lot of, Disney watching movies.
All right.
Moana stuff. It's just a time for grandpa to get to, spend quality time with my grandkids, And that's kind of like the second part of my life now. I've been into wrestling 35 years. Started when I was 17, turned pro at 19, and that's all I know was sports entertainment from them. I had my kids at the early age of 18 years old, and I knew then that working at McDonald's flipping burgers was not going to make it. And so I worked a couple jobs. I was a courtesy clerk pulling carts at Safeway Supermarket, and then I would go to the Fisherman's Wharf at Pier 39 in San Francisco, California, and that's where I learned how to dance like minds to make extra money to be able to, bring home. And so, entertainment has always been a part of my life, but I never knew that, jumping into the professional wrestling world was going to be my calling. And it was just, because of my kids, I realized that, what I was doing then, working at a supermarket, did a few McDonald's jobs and, and performing on the pier, that was not enough. You know, diapers and milk and stuff like that was. So I was, you imagine you're a kid, but when you're a kid and you're having a kid, that scared me to death. I knew, like, man, it's time for me to grow up real quick because I have another human being that's depending on me to be able to put food on the table. So, I reached out to my uncles, Alpha and Sita.
Yeah.
Rest his soul. I just lost my uncle 2 weeks ago, Alpha, and I lost Uncle Sita 2 months before that. So, but yeah, I reached out to them, and I just pretty much asked for help.
Yeah.
I said, I would like to come and train into the family business, and to see if I can, do this thing to be able to take care of my kids. So, 8 boys later, 35 years in the business later, and 1 daughter. I'm proud to say that all my kids have done well for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that I have 14 grandkids, and I'm proud to say that I'm still waiting for my only daughter to get married, and so I can walk her down the aisle. But wrestling has been very good to me and saved my life. And the reason why I bring up my humble beginnings is because I want to talk to all the kids out there that we're not all perfect. Neither is our parents, our friends. We all go through mistakes in life, and the one thing I did was not listen to my pops and my mother early on in high school. I didn't graduate high school. I had a kid early, and what was more important to me was, raising that kid the best way I can. And so what I'm saying is this, like, you make mistakes, but, you can always do better. You can always come back and do you. Do you what you know that can help the situation that you're in. And just because you've done a bad thing in your life in the beginning doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you made the wrong choice. And at that time, you can turn around and make that choice better by doing something positive so nobody else can. And you learn from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's always that room for that grace, and to give yourself that permission to be like, I've got to own this accountability.
Exactly.
I've got to step up. And to hear that kind of story, it's, like, obviously you have the similar family of wrestlers. Was there pressure before,
Oh my gosh.
I imagine so, because like, why aren't you automatically doing this? Was that you just kind of actively choosing to be like, I'll do my own thing, be my own person, and then obviously the kid came and you had to change your trajectory a bit?
It was, again, I was green coming into it. We talk about the wrestling business. When I reached out to my uncles, it was only just to look for a job. I don't care if it was putting the ring up. I don't care if it was driving a ring truck, cleaning the locker room, or pulling the wrestlers back. I didn't care what it was. All I knew is just I needed to make money to be able to take care of, my kid. And, as I started training, my uncles, they were very hard on me. They were hard on all of us. It's because they wanted to let us know that wrestling is not an easy thing for you to just walk into. There was a lot of, back in the day, there was a lot of hush-hush in the business. Nobody, they would never say that it's sports entertainment. They would just say it's pro wrestling. And so you would never see the good guys right with the bad guys. If you're seeing what's happening on TV, they would utmost cover that whole storyline.
All the cables.
Like, if they even find out that you were riding together, you'd be fired.
Yeah.
And if you're fired, they didn't have contracts. So the contract was if you worked, you got paid. If you didn't work, you didn't get paid. And so they only had a few people on that roster with my uncle back in the day, with Andre the Giant, Bruno San Martino, the Dr. D. David Schultz. I can go on with a lot of the old school cats, but they only had a few people on the roster, and everybody would fight to stay on that roster. And so when I came through, you know, they trained us to where it took me 6 years to finally, you know, get into the WWE. And you can imagine, like you have a kid in your first year, you're training, I'm a wrestler. I'm finally gonna make some money. No, it didn't even happen that way. You know, they put us through it. They put us as far as training. They got us, you know, up 6 in the morning to go work out in the gym. They got us up to, you know, put the ring up, tear the ring down, put it in the ring truck, drive it 4 hours, set the ring up, turn around, put your gear on, and then you get out there and you just stand there just in case some of the stars got hurt, then we were the fill-in guy. And so I'm looking at it, I said, man, I don't know if I want to do this thing here. Like, what does all this have to do with, you know, being a pro wrestler? Well, you know, years later as I grew up and I finally got my chance, I understand why now. It's because our uncles want us to understand the ins and outs of professional wrestling. Like, it's easy for you to see us on TV, but what happens outside in the squared circle, that's what's gonna keep you there.
That's work.
That's what's gonna keep you on. And the one word they always said to us was longevity.
Yeah.